I'm going to call the meeting to order, and we're going to move to recognizing our retirees. So if I may have Ms. Margot, Ms. Melissa, and Ms. Gail, you can stand over there if you'd like to. First, thank you for coming this evening. So I just wanted to there's a few of us that are going to take a few minutes to do some, speak a little bit on behalf of our retirees here. And then we'll also have some things for tomorrow as well, so during the presentation and graduation. So we're going to start with, you want me to speak up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm going to start with my fellow Jersey girl, Miss Melissa, grew up in the town next door to me. She's been here with us for 16 years. She started in August of 16. She's worked with us for 2,880 days. I didn't get into this video.
Round it up.
Approximately 128 students. She's been the aide to so many students as well as a teacher, so thank you for that. She's always there to help us, no matter what it may be, lunchtime activities, extracurricular stuff. She's always been a helping hand to us. She's also been a spark. You're quick to smile, and a bright spot for our students and staff in the school. Your passion for our students and community is worn on your sleeve for all to see, and I love that about you. May all your new adventures be as wonderful as you.
Oh, to Miss Melissa? Absolutely. So Melissa I know pretty well from her pickleball. So if you see her personality, bubbly, excitable, she's that way on the pickleball court as well. Her feet are not always both on the ground. Occasionally one is here and one is there. So in retirement, I wish you well. I wish that you do all the things that make you happy. Having been retired, I just warn you, find that word no somewhere and get ready with it. But say yes to all the things that you want to do, be with family, be with friends, and enjoy. And I'm looking for you on the pickleball. Thank you. Thank you.
So Margot, you're next in the hot seat. You started with us in August of 2002. You've been with us for 21 years. The legend. You've managed to teach 168 students through your school, 2 principals, 2 superintendents, countless committees, and then all the other stuff that I did. So, parent-teacher conferences, moving classrooms, flooded basement. The second floor, I'm not sure if you were there, but yeah. There is a second floor. Given so much of yourself to our children and the community, and I thank you. You've also worked 3,780 days. Everyone loved to have you as a teacher. You are an amazing teacher. Your students were excited to be in your class, and they came away with so much more than just book learning. You are a kind person, passionate and true. I will miss knowing you and you are in our little school, making our students amazing on so many levels. Being a sound and respected staff and community member, and just a delight to know. Your time here is too short, and you're always welcome back. I wish you much joy and happiness in your next phase.
I've often heard your name come up as a teacher the children love to have. And it's apparent by the applause here this evening that you're well loved, well liked, and I'm sure all these people will join me in wishing you the best. Again, my recommendation on retirement, go out, look and see what it is you like to do, makes you happy, and that's what it's about. So enjoy, and God bless you. Thank you.
Gail started with in July of '08 for 15 years, 120 students at least, 2 superintendents, a few new teachers. In 2014, we were the best school of New Hampshire. We won the Eddie Award. That was a lot of work. Destination Imagination, traveling around in the cars with the kiddos with you. After school enrichment, giving cross-country skiing a try. That was new. Summer camps, world language, safety updates, technology updates, smart boards, budgets, curriculum, and I'm sure I've forgotten a lot. There's building updates as well. And you've been with us for 4,200 days. Thank you. It has been a pleasure working with you and getting to know you. Your soft-spoken style with your strong determination and sense of purpose have endeared me to you. You have cared more about our school, staff, and students than most will ever know. Our students under your tenure have grown into wonderful young adults, all with good heads on their shoulders, with the world at their feet, and I thank you for being at the helm of it all. I will miss you.
Gail, principal of a very small school. I got to know you a little bit in the last year as I served on the safety committee and met with you. I'm working on things. I saw your passion for the building and being interested in keeping our children safe here on this campus. I know that you're going to do some camping, do some traveling when you leave. We talked about that the other day. So again, my advice to you in retirement, find something that makes you happy. It'll be a chance to wake up to a new day, look out and say, I don't have to make that drive all the way to Jackson. And enjoy your retirement, and God bless you.
Without further ado, I would like to invite you to leave the meeting. I'm not inviting you, I'm requesting that you leave the meeting and go and enjoy dinner and some cocktails, whatever you'd like to do. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, see you first. So we're going to approve minutes from 5/15/23. Second. All in favor? Yeah. Oh yeah, we'd like to just move around. Yeah. We're going to do Mike with the River Canoe trip presentation at this point. With Mike, if you could.
Yeah, no,
Thank you.
I appreciate you moving me. Some of you heard this, and I apologize if you were at an all-school meeting last Thursday, so you might have heard some of this, but for those that did not, my name is Mike Duplo. I'm the high school programs manager for Tin Mountain Conservation Center, and Gail had just asked me to talk a little bit, just to let school board know what's been going on in the school, and just recap our most recent annual 5-6 adventure trip that JGS takes. This trip that we took was a 3-day trip, and it was generously funded by New Hampshire Environmental Education Association, as well as the 5-6 sweatshirt sales. The PTO donated as well for this trip. And it comes on the heels of last year's trip, where we took a 3-day trip up to Carter Notch Hut when it was self-service, and it was just such a fabulous experience that I approached John Marshall, the 5-6 teacher, and said I would love to do something like this again. How do we make this happen? How do we create an experience like this? And how do we make it something that is ongoing, you know, an annual event? And so after thinking about it for a little while, we talked about how the previous year's trip was very physically challenging and academically challenging, and we wanted to present something different. And so we wanted to lead with more team building and bonding, and to still have that challenge present, but to do something different. We came up with the idea of a canoe trip. And it's funny, because in the initial stages, John and I got together and planned, and the two of us probably shouldn't plan trips, because we were like, oh, we're going to go to Umbagong, and then by the end of it, we're like, we're going to paddle the length of the Connecticut River, right? Like with 5th and 6th graders in 3 days. So we were helped tremendously by the guidance department here. Victoria Hill, the word that I like to use was indispensable in helping us craft an appropriate trip that met student needs. She reminded us that how each cohort is different, and so a trip for one cohort doesn't necessarily need to be the same experience for another. And I felt like that worked really well with this idea of that, oh, it's not always going to be a hiking trip, it may not always be a paddling trip. It's some sort of adventure that best meets the needs, physical and emotional needs of that year's cohort. So Victoria was really very helpful with that. And in the end, we decided on a 3-day trip where we would drive down to Tamworth. We'd put in on the Bear Camp River. We paddled in the Bear Camp River into Lake Ossipee. We spent 2 nights camping on the north shore of Lake Ossipee. And then on the 3rd day, paddled the length of the lake and then up the Pine River and took out there. And I can tell you, if you are a 5th grader or 6th grader, we might as well have been in Alaska. You put in somewhere you've never been, you camp for 2 nights, you take out on a river you've never been into. It felt like, big wilderness to them, which was amazing. And one of the things that I did is I took some video of that experience. And so I apologize, some people have seen this before, Great All School when you saw it. But I'd love to play just a couple of quick video clips so you get a sense of what it was like. So it's going to take me a second, so we're going to hang out.
What is it? The www? Mr. Susan, what's the password?
Password, so I just come up here and take a look.
Yeah. No, it's actually it's on the counter. Only this there. It's on, it's open. It's gonna take a video. Oh, there it is.
Okay, which one should I?
So just to walk around for a minute here. So just to kind of put in perspective, thinking about the impact of that, we had students on that trip that had never paddled a canoe. We had students that had never slept in a tent or gone camping. We had students that had never spent the night away from home. We also had students that probably never done dishes before based on what the dishes look like. So, I mean, this is really transformative experiences. And so kind of thinking a little bit about just learning and growth development, when I think about how Jackson Grammar School has this great connection with outdoor learning and doing things in the outdoors, whether it's ESSC or Nordic, Tin Mountain, the Ecology School, the River Project, Maple Sugaring Project, this now 5-6 trip. I really would just love to end with this thinking a little bit about how do we take these projects and how do we weave them into the fabric of the school, right? So that way when administration moves on, or vested teacher moves on, or invested parent ages out or moves to another town or something, how do you make this like a permanent feature? And so part of that, I think, is through showing videos like this and like getting people, younger kids excited. The other part is, trying to figure out how it gets into the school budget, that sort of thing. But just thanks for the time. And I did finish by really thanking Sonia Porter and John Marshall. Took a lot of time out of their schedule to make this happen. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike, I really appreciate that. And with that, we'll move on to citizen comments. You could just help out our recorder with just stating your name.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks.
Hello, everyone. I don't actually often stand up here, so my name is Hampton Sinnott. I'm not good at speaking in public, so bear with me. My husband Mark and I are Jackson residents, and between us we have three children. Actually, we've each gone through 7 years each in the Jackson school, and we currently have a first grader. And I love this. We saw this in the all-school meeting, and this is what I love so much about this school and why we're all so passionate about this school. Sadly, Mark is traveling for work, otherwise he would be here. I've personally been involved with the school as a step-parent since 2013, and more recently I have acted as the soccer coordinator and volunteer for ESSC and a lot of other school events, so I'm definitely in the school and around the kids and the teachers a fair amount, as are many in here. I am, however, feeling compelled to speak tonight simply because I just want to express sadness and frustration, frankly, over losing so much of our teaching staff this year. It was really heartbreaking to lose 2 of our teachers to retirement. God knows they deserve it, but it was actually a bit unexpected to me. And we also lost a teacher's aide. But when I saw Carrie Scribner is on the agenda to resign tonight, it raised a lot of red flags for me. And it did because I know, it did because I know on a personal level, she'd intended for her 2 boys to go through and finish their careers in Jackson School, and now this will not be the case. This alone brings me and other concerned parents and people at the school to inquire and demand transparency about what's happening here. I would like to take a moment to thank Erin Messer. I thought she was here tonight, maybe not. She's like, oh my God, great! This is how not Ethan, this is how focused I am. Thank you. We're so excited to have you here. But we are very concerned about the loss of so much of our teaching staff and what is going on. If anyone would care, I know we are trying to, I know there's a lot of parents in here that feel similar to me. If you do and you would like to stand and show your support for these similar comments, because at this time, standing together with me now are the parents and community members that do join me, that ask the board tonight to please do not accept Carrie Scribner's resignation. We ask you to create a plan that stays focused on the mission of this school to educate and maintain some of the semblance of stability for our children, and in doing so that you keep Carrie and all of our remaining teachers on staff. Carrie and most of the teachers currently in the school have been involved in all 4 of our kids' education and path at JGS. The people who are standing here, I think, feel similarly with their children, and these teachers, Carrie's in particular, their enthusiasm, their energy, and dedication to our children is something that cannot be replaced and is not found in many places, and it's why most of us are here. And quite frankly, I personally am deeply angered that any one of them would ever be left to feel expendable, not supported, or feel like they have to leave. We don't accept the current state of our little school as a big part. The atmosphere at the school this year has created a stress that frankly is palpable to not only our children, but also to us as parents. I've been here since 2013, and honestly, I've sensed it all year like I haven't in any other year. We ask that moving forward, you focus on healing, improvement, and excelling in the mission of the grammar school through a process that's collaborative, but most importantly, transparent. And we strongly request the board come to the next school meeting on July 17th with a plan for our community, because our school needs its teachers. Thank you very much.
Any other comments?
My name is Irina, and I'm sorry, I said, my name is Irina, I-R-I-N-A, and I've been in Jackson for the last 20-something years. I only have one child, and he has been in the Jackson school now. He's a 4th grader. And finding out that Carrie Scrivener is resigning is something that, to me, is heartbreaking. Just to share, just a little tiny thing. Last night, my son was writing his year-end cards, and I just happened to be picking up the card for Terry. And here he was saying, I just looked at the card, and he looked at me and said, "Mom, she's more than an art teacher. We do all those things for her." Tonight, coming here, I don't usually talk at that type of gathering, but tonight, mentioning Terry's name, he goes, "Mom, Carrie's the best art teacher. She deserves a raise." That just doesn't know. He's 10 years old, has no idea why he's coming here tonight. His heart was broken, finding out that he's missing his father for retirement. Thank you.
Brian County, I have 2 daughters. One has already gone through the schools, and one is actually here in 5th grade. And up to this point, we've been thrilled with Jackson Schools. We fought to stay here in this town because of it. It makes me very sad and upset to know that some of our teachers feel uncomfortable here and have decided to move on. I don't think that we're doing enough to keep our teachers here. I think that they should be listened to, and I don't know, it's very disappointing to me as a resident. I also have concerns about safety in regards to what if teachers that we know and trust feel uncomfortable, what is that saying about the environment? Is it safe for our kids to be here? And so this is a real concern that I have.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Linda Tierney. My family and I are Jackson residents. Both my boys have attended school at JGS, and tomorrow is my youngest last day of school. He's graduating and heading off to JGS in the fall. I come before all of you tonight to express my deep concern for the future of JGS. My boys have been blessed with honestly what I consider some of the most talented, smart, and caring teachers that a parent could ever ask for. The thought of losing such educators, especially in a short notice, looms an obvious question, I think, for all of us. Why? It also warrants the question, is the school prepared for such an impact? I would ask of you to revisit the reasonings of the resignations. If the reasoning is because of a work environment that includes feelings of uncomfortable behaviors, sexual misconduct, and or a fear of others in the workplace, I ask that you take this extremely seriously. No workplace should be a place where their employees feel uncomfortable and unsafe. No employee should feel forced to resign because of such toxic happenings. Add into the fact that you've got young children in this building, and the school board sirens should be howling with concern. We live in a very small and a very caring town and community, And I know I'm not alone when I say that our family and I support any teacher that has given their all to our kids and is resigning for any other reason than their best interests. If that was the case, or if the case was that they are leaving for any other reason, I know that we'll stand behind them until answers are given and correct measures are taken. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? No, go ahead.
My name's Allison Baran. I'm a resident of Jackson Grammar School and used to be a former employee. So I'm going to just kind of readjust because I had something prepared as well, but Hampton really stated everything so beautifully, and I appreciate that. And Linda, Brian, everyone. But the biggest question right now that I am asking, and thank you for letting me speak, is why haven't our leaders taken a look at our school and see why these meetings, because I've been going to these board meetings for quite some time. I barely speak, but attend them because I'm curious to see what's going on with the schools. But why haven't we taken a look at our school and see why these meetings have become increasingly distressing? Why are we continuing to have issues and not devising a solution? And what is the true benefit of the students? How does the small school develop a culture filled with distrust and anxiety? And what Hampton had said, I echo exactly the same thing this past year. It's been very stressful and hard. The actions of the adults involved with the school have undermined the pride they claim in the school's pledge and their efforts to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion. Consequently, our community finds itself in disarray, and I ask myself, do I maintain faith in the process and hope for improvement? And I do hope for that. I really, really do. I care for this community a lot. We have taco parties, bringing programming into Jackson Grammar School, but those are just Band-Aids. Bringing, that's only something that I can do, but it's not enough to make things better in this community. I want us to feel like we care about each other, the well-being of the education of our students, and I'm concerned about retaining staff members who genuinely prioritize my child's well-being, and seeing them leave is very disheartening. And will be heartbreaking to my student. She has no idea. We have to unite as a community, the staff at the Jackson Grammar School, the board members, SAU 9 leadership, and recommit ourselves to the fundamental purpose of why we're all here, and that is for the students, and I feel like we kind of lost track of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Allison. Anyone else? Yes, Tish?
I can't help myself but to have to speak right now. And as many, Tish Hanlon is my name, and I've had 2 children go through this school, and very involved in town and certainly with the community center as well. And I'm speaking for, just as a parent, but also as a community member, as a taxpayer, is that I feel as though this school, we have so much potential in this town, in this school, and resources, and no one questions, give it to these kids. We want to keep the school going. And it seems as though if you make all decisions based on, is it good for our children? And then, are we getting the best teachers? And we have fabulous teachers. We cannot afford to let them go. I have to speak just to Carrie for the moment and say, I've dealt with her so many times on so many levels, as have so many of us. Whether it's her shop right there, dealing with her kids. And she is somebody who's like, what can I do for you? How can I help? On any level. Her creativity and her experience, you're not going to get that again. This is a stellar teacher. This isn't just a teacher. And other people who have left here or questioned leaving here. These are stellar people. You don't make decisions based on other things. You say, is it good? What's good for our kids? And what's good for, are we providing the best education for them? It just seems like it's kind of black and white. Thank you.
Thank you.
quickly, thanks Peter Benson, and also had two kids go through this system. It's a terrific school, terrific environment. I would just ask that the school board examine and re-examine how we got to this point and do everything you can to retain this fine educator. Doing the right thing isn't easy. It's often harder. It's a hard thing to do, but at the end of the day, it's the right thing to do. And I would just urge you all to look at where we are, how we got here, and how we can move forward positively. Thank you.
I'd like to piggyback on what Peter said when listening. It's easy to do the right thing. It's not always easy to know what the right thing is. And I'm not going to speak. I'm going to give you my written statement because it's an emotional time. And it's been an emotional since November. It's been an emotional roller coaster since November and prior to November. So I found some really cool erasers today. And I'm going to ask you guys and gals to sharpen your pencils, keep your erasers at the ready, and take a closer look at what is best for the students at the Jackson Grammar School. And that's why I got involved in education. I love kids. I love teaching. So I'm going to piggyback on what Tish said. It's about the children. There are students. Some of them are the loves of our lives, right? My son came through the school and Peddler threatened to put me on the payroll because I was here all the time. I was a stay-at-home mom and I came in for learning rings and writing journals and field trips, and it was a blast. And I feel like our little school with the big heart has been imploding, in my view. I'll just speak from my own view, but I feel as though we care. We're a caring community. We care about our students. We need to care about our teachers and our support staff as much as we care about our students. And so I'm just gonna, I practiced it all at home. I did pretty well, but I'm not gonna go into the whole thing, but I'm gonna drop these off with you guys, and you each get a fun eraser in case you need to use it. Because I think that, I love using pencils and erasers. I'm a big fan, and I think they're great tools, and I think that they need to be used by you folks up here, because I don't think that you used them enough when you made some decisions. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wong.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Taylor Lucy, and my wife Amy is here. We submitted a written thing to everyone, but we would just like to reiterate what everyone has said. And we tuition our daughter here actually because of the awesomeness that this school is supposed to be. And to lose a teacher like Carrie would be, detrimental to the school. And this year we were here for 5th grade with John Marshall specifically. And we would like to come back next year for John Marshall also, because they are a fantastic teacher.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to say anything?
I'd like to say something. Yes. I did not know anything about this meeting, so I come completely unprepared. My name is Chantel Capone. I'm a taxpayer here in Jackson, and I have a son here in kindergarten going into first grade. I love Jackson Grammar School. My sister homeschools her 2 boys in Maine because the school there is not efficient enough that she feels safe for her children to go to a public school. I feel very lucky to have my son in a public school in such a small community. I don't want to homeschool my child because he feels unsafe. I don't want to homeschool my child because I don't think he's getting the right education. I don't want to be able to have my child come home to me and say he doesn't like school. He's a kindergartner. He loves school. He loves Mrs. Groves, his teacher. If Mrs. Scribner or somebody else, he loves Miss Scribner. Matter of fact, I guess I came a few minutes early. She actually took him underneath her wing with her own child, so that I could go to work and be on time. She didn't have to do that. I think we all should come together as a community and think about our decisions that we're making and recognize the Jackson pledge that is said every single morning. Because I'm here every Thursday for the community meeting. And if things keep changing, never know, maybe I'll start homeschooling my child. Because I want him to get the proper education with good teachers, small classrooms. That's what I'm here for. Thank you.
Thank you. I just have a quick question. Chantel just mentioned that she wasn't aware about tonight. I know usually there's an agenda that's emailed out to us every week, it's a week prior for your monthly agenda meetings. Was that emailed out? It was? Mm-hmm. Okay, just checking.
And it's on the website.
Oh, okay. It was on the website, but it wasn't emailed out like you or Jackson emailed last.
Yeah, I don't think that Jackson Email is being used by the Jackson School Board anymore. Is that true?
I can speak to that. I was
Yeah,
out of
thank you,
school on Thursday and Friday, so as soon as I got it on Monday, I sent it out to e-news. It was posted in all the regular places, though, post office, I think out front here, in my absence by the sub.
All right, I just wanted to clarify because I do usually see it in the
I don't check my email on a regular basis. I
Right.
lack that, so.
But no, I just wanted to clarify because I didn't see it in the email and I see it every month. So I just wanted to clarify.
It has been on the school calendar for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, I just wanted to clarify over email. Thanks.
All right, I'd like to just let you all know that I have heard back at Angus.
Thank you, Patty. I just want to change gears quickly, and I want to welcome Erin to Jackson Grammar School. I think you've seen being a community that cares very deeply about the school, and I think we all do, and we all recognize the most valuable resource here is our teachers. And many of us in the room and people who've spoken on the school board who are all volunteers and work hard, and that also is a huge resource. I want to say to the community that this is the first time Jackson Grammar School has ever hired a full-time principal. Every time before it was a teaching principal, and Erin I've known for many years. When I saw that she was hired, I cannot tell you how lucky I thought we were. She is a star from this community that went up through the Bartlett system and then over to Vermont, and is, I think, for everything that's going on now, we have a professional who cares about this community, who knows the community we're in. And I think I'm very hopeful and very, very appreciative that you're here. I feel very grateful and welcome.
Thank you. And I just want to let you know, is there anything else on Carrie's topic? I would like to let you know that I have heard you, and I do hear you. And that's all I can say at this moment, is that I hear you and I understand, and I appreciate you all coming and expressing your opinions and being involved in the community, and doing everything that you can. So thank you for letting me know how you feel. Is there any other citizen comments on the topic this time? We have some instructional issues to consider in the first reading and adoption of policies. I'm just going to take them one at a time because there's just a few. First reading and adoption of GBEF, school district internet use for staff.
So moved.
Second.
Favor? JICL, school district internet use for students. Motion. Second. All those in favor? Michael? Yeah. Are you voting?
I can message you, can I?
Okay, that's fine. Or just speak up.
I'll message you.
Okay. EGA, internet safety and acceptable use. We're gonna- Second. All those in favor? EHB, data records retention. Motion. Second. All those in favor? JLCE, first aid and emergency care. Second. All those in favor? Personnel actions, regrettably accept resignation of Carrie Scribner.
Motion to accept resignation of Carrie Scribner.
Second. All those in favor? Election of Heather Tower.
We couldn't hear you. Could you bring up the discussion or
The mic is on the phone.
Just wait to get her vote.
Oh, okay.
I said it was raining. And I'm just waiting for Micah to catch up with us.
Was there an option to not accept her resignation?
We're having some
We voted for,
discussion.
we're waiting for Mike's vote to see.
We voted for, we're waiting for Micah to see.
It's all of them voted that day, so. All of them.
Yes, yes. So 3 yeses and she voted no.
Election of Heather Tower as paraprofessional.
So moved.
Second.
Excuse me, sorry, it's hard to hear you. So is that 3 yeses for Carrie's resignation
Yes.
and 1 no from Micah with no discussion from the board?
Can I ask, if you guys are a school board, why aren't you representing us as people? Why are you just going along with whatever SA9
I'm
says?
going to defer to Kevin.
So their work is the work here, and they've taken a vote. They've heard from you folks. I don't think it would be wise to get in a conversation with the public. I'd advise them not.
Wow.
There should be some.
Wait a minute, we are
the school.
Public, the taxpayers.
The public,
Parents.
the parents of all the students of the school.
So I'll say, listen, we are in our school board meeting here. Discussion is dictated by the board how we want to discuss things. This resignation, if we were to have a discussion, we would have had it, we did not. Typically, almost every business in the country doesn't discuss personnel.
Most businesses have a zero tolerance policy. Why don't we have a zero tolerance policy in a school where my kid goes? Can you explain that one to me?
I think that's a great question. I've worked in private industry for over 25 years. This kind of behavior by your board represents malfeasance. You have a duty of care to the students and the employees of the school that you have failed on collectively. That's you. And now you're telling us that you represent us? I completely disagree. So this is the Parliament. We would vote a no confidence vote for all of them. Thank you.
Folks, I would just ask that you respect our meeting and allow us to conduct our business.
Respect us.
Yeah, you stop trying to slide stuff.
Taxpayers.
Talking under your breath, holding a vote that no one can even hear without even any discussion about it.
I can't even hear you back here. I have to stand up so I can hear you guys talk. You asked me to speak up. You all need to speak up so I can hear you. Now I need to know why Carrie is not cannot be employed here at Jackson. I need to know why. I pay taxes here. I need to know why my money is being wasted.
This is not going away.
Nope.
This is not sliding away. Carrie is too important to this community, and the other teacher that has issues too is too important to us. So don't anticipate this going away anytime soon. You guys should revisit what you did, what you decided.
Just as a point of process, I'll just say, I think that everyone's comments are something that you might want to hold on to, because and correct me if I'm wrong, but you have to move your meeting forward, because this is supposed to be like you guys having your conversation, and while we might not be happy with what you're doing, right now you're in the middle of something that you're supposed to be doing. So how would we go about registering our concerns and complaints about what you're doing? What would be the appropriate process? Because I think that's part of the frustration on this side of things, if we're not happy, rather than continuing in this meeting. Am I right? Because I feel like what I heard you say, Jerry, is that you've taken the vote, it is what it is. If we want to register a complaint, there's another venue for that, right? Or another way to do that?
Well, I wasn't alluding to that, I was alluding to the fact that we do need to finish our business and conduct our business here this evening, and I'm just asking you to respect that, because you're not leaving with many options. We do need to continue with our meeting, and
But when you guys are talking amongst yourselves and I can't hear you, you guys need to speak up. If you want to have a meeting between all of you, have it in your own damn house. You don't need to do it in front of us. If you're going to be out speaking in front of people, then speak up. Plain and simple.
I'm going to be the bad guy here and just say, we're done with public comments, so we're not going to...
Because you don't want to hear it.
Um,
Plain and simple. You don't like to hear people's comments. Because we disagree.
We're just done with this interaction right now. Public comments comes up again. We're moving on through our agenda, as we stated. So we're not talking amongst each other, we're just waiting to hear Mike that has heard and then coded, that's all. So I believe we're on 7C, consider request by Emily Taylor for childcare leave.
Second.
Reactivate the technology, all in favor? Reactivate the teacher facilitator 40% and library media specialist 20% position. Motion?
So,
All those in favor? E, recall employee, that would be Cindy for the technology position.
Second.
All those in favor? The budget status report?
Yeah, you're gonna make it, but there's very little margin for any other expenditures. So we'll have a final report in probably the end of July, beginning of August, to determine what the overall budget status is.
All right, declare equipment surplus and authorize donation. Motion.
So, sorry.
All those in favor? Thank you. Award school bus bid pending the town approval. Jim, you need to?
Basically, we went out to bid for the school buses. The first bid did not meet the specifications by a lot. The next bid did meet the main specifications for the proper gear rate, ratio, et cetera. And that's one thing
So, right? Okay. Second. All those in favor? D, consider approval of food service agreement with Bartlett. Motion.
Second.
All those in favor? All right, superintendent, do you have anything?
Yeah, just a couple things. Went to the Bartlett promotion for Jackson students who are now at the high school, 8th grade students. In this year's graduation class, it was excellent. It was outdoors last Saturday, a week ago Saturday. Great guest speaker, Kate Bergeron, for the 100th graduating class. For the Kennett alumni that are out there, next fall will be homecoming. There's a huge celebration getting on board. And last but not least, the superintendent search for SAU 9 will be, the SAU 9 board is moving forward with that, and they'll be looking for somebody on the Jackson board to be on that committee. But other than that, whining.
The principal, I believe she prepared for her strategic plan review.
That's in the packet. I know Micah has been out of town. We'll be meeting when she returns to update that and bring the full pieces to the school board.
Okay. Board member policy committee. Matt, you did that in section 2. Personnel committee. Nothing to update there. Facility and transportation committee.
There's the bus.
All right, there is no high school options committee at this point in time, but I, as per the last meeting, I did say that I was going to meet with the people who had left the high school options committee one-on-one. I met with 2 of them so far. I have invitations for the other 2, and that's all that's been done on that at this point in time. Diversity, equity, DEI, inclusion committee. Okay. Safety committee.
Nothing new to report.
Whitney Center.
Whitney Center is active and busy, lots of programs. You should see in the community, beautiful, colorful brochure, a huge variety of activities. So the building is used various times of the day. You should probably see more activity here. But Whitney Center is doing very well.
We have our committee assignments for 23-24 school year. We're still fleshing those out at this point in time. We're represented on all the committees, so. Date for next meeting set for July 17th.
I'd like to speak inside of another board member issue. But I need to now I can wait till after you go to the next meeting, so just let me know when I have a slot.
That would be now.
Great. So, not inside of a particular committee, but as a board member comment, I am really concerned with, I think everybody's concerned with the general tenor and what's happening in our school and also in our town. And I apologize to the people who can't hear me great in the audience. I'm not enough of the meetings because I'm on a long-standing family vacation and don't foresee that we are at this level of engagement with everyone. What I do see right now, however, is that we need to do some pretty serious work, both as a school board and as a school and the community, to do some care. And I am recommending at my highest ability that we start with that process and that we go back to the New Hampshire Listens team that we had a small group with, and we actually asked them to come and help facilitate real conversations that is inclusive to everyone, and to start with doing surveys so that we can have a sense of what's happening with the community and how people feel, and broadcast that to as large of a group to give as many voices as part of this, and have not only a caregiving group, but also something for our staff. It's clear to me that there's something wrong, and for me to be on the board, I need to feel like we're being attentive and we're trying to fix it. And we need to, there are many things that we cannot do with what has happened, but we can definitely do and make choices. And I think that we have an amazing opportunity with a new principal, and we have an amazing opportunity town to step in and start building pathways to trust and communication.
You cut out, you said something about the principal, if you want to just backtrack a minute.
Yeah, I just said we have a new opportunity with a new principal, and I think that we have a useful opportunity to build pathways for trust and communication and transparency in every single process that we are doing. And I need to strongly recommend that we not only have that New Hampshire listening process and that it becomes much more robust, but that we look at as a school board how we're going to change our practices and make sure that we are crossing every T and dotting every I and doing things in as open of a way and going above and beyond so that we can create and restore some of the trust and the strength that makes the Jackson School community what it can.
And Micah and I have spoken a few times in the last couple of weeks as I learned about the New Hampshire Listens project and how that perhaps the first attempt to go around wasn't as effective as people had hoped in the community. And I echo that with Micah. Something wrong with a lot of different things. To have, you know, I'm a volunteer, I was a teacher, sit here and have people scream at me. That isn't a good feeling. You know, I have my doctor in there, people I love to go to a restaurant, I go buy flowers. This is a small community. Tish, we work together at Whitney Center, pickleball. Allison, I run into you with Kiwanis. You know, Aaron, your dad, is a small community. And, you know, I all echo, I don't know the answer. I hope to be part of the solution. And I don't know what that is. You know, but I just want you to know that, you know, I support any kind of thing that we can do to start healing to keep a community. These are all volunteers here. Going to join with me, you know, we're doing the best that we can, and, you know, hope for the future that, you know, it's a lot brighter next June this time.
Thank you, Debbie. Thank you. I also wanted to say, to echo Mike's and Darlene's and Jerry's, because we usually meet to goal setting sessions and to review in April and May. We didn't do that, obviously, we're waiting for you to come on board. So we're hoping to have a better, fresh start and build some communications back in, because future agenda is topical now. I can't address a lot of things that are going on in the room, and I hope that you, as citizens, appreciate the fact that we have laws that prohibit us from saying anything. It's not that we don't want to say anything, we can't say anything. And if it was you, we wouldn't want this up either. So we're doing what the law is providing for us, and we've done our due diligence as best that we can with the tools that we're given. So we're also in this community, and I don't like the way things are going either, but I'm on this side right now, and I'm doing the best for what you've elected me to do, and I'm trying my hardest to right the ship and keep it going forward. So I'm encouraged that we have someone new coming on board, and I look forward to more open communication as we move forward, but at this point, I can't say more about a lot of things. So I'll check that off. My list there. So we're up to the date for the next meeting is July 17th. And then we have the high school, we don't have any updates other on the high school office committee at this time. School board member vacancy, we still have that in place. So if anybody is interested in sitting on this side, you know, citizen comments. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah, one of you both go, so it doesn't matter.
I just have a question, because I am unclear now. So Carrie resignation has been accepted, and I think part of the frustration here is just we're not clear. Okay, her resignation has been accepted, if she would even consider having this one. Is there any route at this point to take for her to be part of the school again next year at this point, or don't know, can't say?
I can't say at this point in time. It's kind of out of my hands.
Thank you.
That's what's next.
Thank you. I'm Jess Delavalla. I do want to say thank you for the work you're doing. I know it is hard, and I know it is frustrating, and I know you're probably just having a very difficult and challenging time because it's hard to be on that side of the table without being able to talk. But unfortunately, that's where we're at, and you're at the end of a term where there's been some, in my opinion, a lack of leadership that you're stuck cleaning up. And I'm disappointed that the principal was allowed to leave tonight while she's still on the payroll, which I believe she is until the last day of school, which is, I believe, tomorrow. And I don't know why, and I feel like that is not transparent why that was allowed to happen. This is a job that is very important, even tonight, in the interest of our kids. I'm disappointed by how things went with Carrie in many ways, but because I understand HR issues. I've been a school board member. I work in a very confidential profession, as does my husband. There are ways that you can convey to the community that you care about them and that you are looking out for them and their children. And I'm disappointed that that hasn't been made known to us, despite not having to know about facts or anything like that. I'm disappointed that there was no follow-up from you all tonight about what happened with New Hampshire Listens. I was a very central part of that conversation, and it was upsetting that a group that purports to be an expert in bringing together communities that are fractured felt that we were so broken they couldn't help us. But there was no discussion about that tonight or with anyone. Despite the fact that there are many of us who have said, yes, we've had some very tough times, but we will keep coming back to the table because as Angus said, that we are so invested and we believe in this community so much. And I have to tell you, I have just the most beautiful and fond memories of walking upon Tish and Rachel while my belly was so big I had to wear extra large maternity clothes with my son. And it was vibrant and it was beautiful. And I just think of these flowers in Carrie's shop that were purple and red outside the school. And it's like the color has been drained from our garden over the past 10 years. And you're untended. And I'm sad and disappointed about that. And I don't know why. I don't know why this is happening. But I do want to say and reiterate what Angus is saying, which is that I think all the frustration, a lot of it, is that the parents in this room and the taxpayers in this room want to be partners. And what you're getting is that we feel like we are boxed out at every turn, whether it's because we can't be there for pickup or we don't know when meetings are, even though if we click a couple of boxes, we eventually will get to the meeting time on the website because officially you check the box and it's been posted. You know, it's like we're not really welcome. We're not really meant to be partners. It's not really genuine. And I don't know why that is because it's not how it's been. I know you guys. Darlene, we've had a lovely time so many times, as have the rest of us. As you said before, it's a small town, and we all still have to live with each other, even after tonight, even after all the flames have been put out from whatever this debacle is that Gail got to walk out on this year. I don't know how to go forward, but I can say, Erin, welcome to Jackson. We are actually a very lovely community, and you are getting a lot of passion here tonight. I hope that whatever people take from tonight, it's that we all have a responsibility, whatever it means going forward. That it's not just the board, because I can tell you, you know I complain. regularly, and it's because I care, and it's also because I know it's not just your responsibility, it's mine too. So I hope everyone here tonight, and whoever ends up listening to this or getting involved, recognizes that we all have to show back up, and we all have to try again, and take responsibility for whatever it is. I'll just say that. I know
Thank
there's
you.
a lot, so.
I think it's really important, I hear people talking about New Hampshire Listens and how they can talk to the staff and listen to the staff. I urged Gail, she's not here, so I'm not throwing her under the bus, I'm just stating a fact. I urged her for this year, could we have some staff meetings? We meet once a month, and it's not enough. So New Hampshire Listens or New York Talks, or forget about it. Talk to the people in the building. And maybe I should, I'm not going to be around, but staff meetings are crucial. A weekly staff meeting. The communication in this building is practically non-existent and has been. And I can't beg. I mean, I did beg, but I didn't get. Staff meetings, in my opinion, in my view, they're crucial to the running of an organization. We're an organization that cares about kids. And we have to have staff meetings on a weekly basis just to know who's on first or who's on second or who's going out to lunch, or it's astounding to me that I'm not saying a lot about against New Hampshire Listens, but how about just if we start by, or again, I'm not going to be here, but if the staff starts with weekly staff meetings, it's not reinventing the wheel. It's not that complicated. Let's not overcomplicate something that could be so simple and so solid and so fantastic.
Thank you.
And I have one more quick thing, which is, so you stated things are out of your hands. Okay, I appreciate that. Whose hands are they in? Where can we go?
Good question.
Where can we go?
Really, that would be great.
That's my question. Anybody, Bueller? Somebody?
I don't know, but I will find it.
We've heard this now. We've heard this now for a number of months. This is
How do you not know where to go?
I've never been in this situation.
Kevin, can you help us?
Yeah, there's a vacant school board position, and that's ultimately where change can take place.
There's always
I'm sorry?
You always answer someone. You answer to someone.
Absolutely.
There's always a step above you.
Yeah,
I
the
talked
Department
to
of
Barbara
Education.
today, just to let everybody know. She's getting me together with a guy named Steve Woodcock, and we'll see where it goes from there. So there is a step above you.
The state school board? Yeah.
Apparently, I only talked to her briefly.
So I'm unclear on your answer about it's out of, okay, Jen said it's out of her hands, or she said it's out of my hands, so where to next?
Like I said, if the general public is not happy with the way the board is operating, then it's the will of the people to fill the seats on the school board that you feel like represent your community. That's number one, right? That's true democracy in its finest. If there's something that you feel that they did inappropriately or neglectfully or broke the law, you can go to the New Hampshire Department of Education. That would be your next order of redress.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
I thought that the New Hampshire Department of Education was only for licensed educators. Or they only listen to complaints.
Yeah, they-
Licensed educators.
Which would be me, so if they want to file a complaint against me.
No,
you
she's
could-
saying that only that people who are licensed could only go to them.
No, they only look at the code of ethics for licensed
That's correct.
educators.
Right.
Not board members, which I just heard stated.
Well, me, if you wanted to.
But what's the alternate for school board?
To go after the school board, again, to vote them out and put people in that you feel represent your community. Because they're the legislative body. They were elected officials for the school district, right? They've made decisions. And people don't like some of the decisions that they do make. Some people like the decisions that they do make. So the way that you change that is by replacing the people on the board and filling those seats.
Who likes the decision that they just made?
No one. So I have a question. My son's been in school here for 3 years, and I have a second that's been for now 2 years. You said that you advised them in the decision that we're all upset about. So I'm a little confused. Is that not what you said earlier, that you advised them to accept Harry Scribner's resignation? Is that what that was?
No, he did not.
Okay, so I misheard that. Just trying to understand the process here. So if we don't like the way it went, and the way that things are going, how do we proceed forward, other than the one seat we realized is open, and for other people to come in and possibly seats up there, if people don't want to participate and be part of the school board, but we don't like what's happening, so where do we go next? What's above you? We want to know what's next.
The board is the governing body. They're the legislative elected officials.
Yeah.
They make decisions on behalf of your school district.
I understand that, but when we're not comfortable with the decision and we're worried about our children's safety, like many people in this room I think are, what do we do next? We go to the school board. I'm confused about what we do next. So can someone step on?
I think, Kevin, didn't you say to go to the New Hampshire Department of Ed?
You can if you feel like there was a misconduct that was
By a
done.
licensed teacher, there's misconduct by a licensed.
By a licensed teacher.
So
there's
this is-
misconduct.
Where do you go if it's
Serious
misconduct by a non-licensed? What if it's not a licensed educator? Where do you go with a complaint about someone non-licensed educator?
So like the school board?
No, not like
I'm
a school board.
confused.
No, like a para-educator, or like a maintenance man, or a janitor. That's my question. Where do you go?
Is it a personnel complaint?
Attorney General.
Attorney General.
I'm pleading with you
The
guys.
police
right now.
department?
I realize this is public comment. I realize we live in a small town, okay? I don't like speaking in public. I don't like confrontation. But honestly, from the bottom of my damn heart, how can you guys just, like, I feel like we're speaking to you, and it's just protocol. Like, all of us, I'm sure, we took time to write letters. We took time, to really think about this. And to me, these meetings feel like we speak, we stand up, we say our thing, and then you guys do your thing, and it just doesn't seem fair right now, because there's some serious stuff going on, guys. Like, this isn't just something that you guys can just, it feels like it's just being dismissed, and I totally get that you cannot say things. And I think everybody here has been super respectful, and I'm sorry if we've raised our voices out of passion, but I think we've all been respectful because I know we're not saying anything too, okay? People know what's going on, all right? People are so upset, people are scared, people don't want to lose awesome teachers in our community. And I can just beg you guys, I just don't know how you can just sit there and kind of whisper like, no, yes, and just move on, when this is huge for us right now. And I just want an answer. How could you guys just do that? I mean, honestly, just please answer me. I'm sorry, but please answer me.
This is the law, I can't say anything.
But you said you accepted her resignation.
She didn't have to resign.
You didn't do anything.
She was forced to keep her.
She was not forced to resign.
No, she was.
You know that.
Put yourself in our shoes. Have your child be in the school, and this happened to their teacher. put yourself in our shoes. How would you all feel? A great teacher, a person of our community that has children within the schools. Put yourself in our shoes. We need answers.
I can't say anything more.
Bull.
Sorry.
I understand that you're all volunteers, and that's appreciated, but you took an oath to represent the people of this town, and you're not doing it. So why are you here? If you're not gonna do what you said, I appreciate you volunteering, but you're not doing what you said you're gonna do.
Put yourself in the person's position who's resigning, and then honestly ask yourself the question if they had to resign or not, or if that was your wife.
Or your daughter. All right. Thank you, guys. I appreciate your passion. I'm part of this community as well, but we're not making any other headway at this point. So, we gotta move on. All right, we have a non-public session to get into.
2 non-public sessions.
Okay. You're welcome to stay.
For personnel.
I just have one clarification. At the last meeting, you did not say that you were going to do one-on-one sessions with the high school action student people, that you were going to get some information from us, and that's actually not how things went. So, I want to make sure that the record's clear on that, because it is not, that's not how things have developed, and, I'm concerned about that, and that's part of the concern that I've had is this lack of transparency and the lack of forthrightness with people. So, actually what went from like, I'll speak just for myself, what went from you having a little coffee to actually what felt like an investigation for some people on my committee had, is been yet another concerning issue. So, I'm not sure how you guys want to proceed with that, but please just make sure that you speak carefully when you're talking about what's happening, because, and you keep saying I, but since December of 2022, the number of us have repeatedly asked you to, and reminded you that you guys are a board. It's not you, Jen, just by yourself acting. You are a board. You act as one, and your decisions are as one. So I do appreciate that you've heard us tonight, but I'm hoping the whole board has heard us as well, and that you, in the future, as we move forward from tonight, you're acting as one board, and you're making decisions as one board, and that when you're having meetings and you're doing things, they are open and in the public and transparent, and that you have minutes, and that it's all available to the citizens of this town.
Correct. And, yeah. I did say in the last meeting that I would meet one-on-one with the,
No, that's not
design.
accurate. And I have the same impression as Jess did, that as a matter of fact, I envisioned that maybe you and I would go for a walk around the loop together. I see you walking outside all the time. I came prepared to do that. There was never an indication that there would be an official from the SAU taking notes. There was never an indication that there would be more than one board member there. I did attend that meeting, and I can attest to the fact that it did not seem like the casual, neighborly informational session that I came expecting based on what you described at the board meeting.
And I can tell you that as a person who also had a meeting with 2 board members and Pam Simpson taking notes and reporting back to me things that I said. It felt very official. It felt very much like interrogation. I left the meeting feeling really uncomfortable and potentially very uncomfortable about some of the things that I might have said, because I don't know where those minutes are. I don't know who's seen them, and I don't know what the purpose of them is. And so I've continued to be concerned about that conduct.
I'm sorry you both feel that way. I was using it as more or less an exit interview kind of thing to just learn more about what happened that wasn't in your letters, as I stated in the last meeting, so that I could learn for myself and
and to move forward, so.
In a very
And it's
official
not-
capacity.
And we wanted Darlene asked to be part of it, so she was part of the committee, so I'm sorry about that. Yes, Heather?
I'm Debbie Glacier, and I did put my name forward as part of the New Hampshire Listens Committee. I hope that part of what we're hearing tonight is that as a community, we're asking you, as the board, to change your behavior. I was really disappointed in the New Hampshire Listens experience as well. It was a single planning meeting, but I think it stands out to me as what not to do. It was announced during a school board meeting that there would be a planning meeting. There was one time given. There was 24 hours, and the minutes show this, 24 hours given for community members to email Pam if they'd like to be a part of that discussion. We were in a very small room. There were 6 people at the meeting, 8 by the SAU, including Kevin and Pam, and 2 of us representing parents. We were given one time to meet. It was less than 2 weeks from the date of the meeting. That alone says volumes to me about how not to engage the public if you really want to hear from people. So I want the community to know that that's the kind of engagement, I say in quotes, that we've been frustrated with. And I really hope that you as board members are hearing us tonight ask you, because as Kevin said, the buck stops with you, and for this to change, you have to change. You have to change your behavior about how you're doing your business, and that's what we're asking you for.
Jay, can I just clarify that the 2 employees of the Jackson School who were involved in that meeting are not paid by the SAU, were paid by the Jackson School District? And that's, I just want to make sure that in the notes, we're not included as SAU 9 employees, we're employees of the Jackson School District.
Thank you. Angus, do you have anything to wrap up citizen comments?
Well, I just want to, Kevin, I was a little disappointed when asked about what do people do, and you pointed to the board as elected new board member. When I served on the board, I understood that the superintendent is the sole supervisor of the principal, and you are accountable. The school board actually has no direct oversight over the principal in terms of, and the leadership of the school, and what I hear, and being fully aware that I don't know what is going on, that so much rests in the principal's hands to manage the school, and so much rests in your hands to oversee the principal and their whether they're doing the right job or doing a good job. And we as a community, our only oversight as a school board is that we have a minority membership on the SAU board that oversees you. And that's actually the difficulty with the SAU, is that we're putting all this pressure on the school board, and it's really a school board, whether all these very valid concerns in our community and building and listening and stuff, but it is an awkward being part of the SAU board, a minority member, and I don't appreciate you saying that the action is elect the new school board here. One of the actions this community can do is show up at an SAU board meeting. And that is where the real leadership over our principal and our school operationally occurs. And that's not something most people are aware of, and certainly not most people participate in as community members. Those are usually empty meetings. And I think that on many levels, 2 years ago, first time in the history of Jackson, the school budget in Jackson was voted down by the community. First time. And I listened to a lack of leadership up on the stage. And that's why the community voted it down, because people were not speaking clearly in defending the budget that was proposed. And I expect more from the superintendent. I expected more from the superintendent to oversee the principal and the operational school. We depend on you. And we're vulnerable because we're minority members of the SAU. And all we can do is ask you and your successor to pay attention, to do a good job, to make sure our principal is operating the school well, is taking care of our teachers, is making sure that they're here along the way, that, I'm not absolving anybody else, but I want to make sure that the light shines on your role as well, and how well the school is run.
Point taken.
With that, I'm going to move into a non-public session. I'd like to thank you all for coming. I've heard your comments. We will try better. You all heard your comments. We have a lot of new things coming our way, so I hope for the best.